watching a new battle of psychics. We're testing people with paranormal abilities right before your eyes again. We have 9 people who are not afraid to come to this project. These people are sure that they are real psychics. They are ready for the most incredible experiments. Thus the battle commences.
Anyone who has ever noticed supernatural abilities could take part in the new battle of psychics. Together with journalists from the Komsomolskaya Pravda newspaper, we traveled to various parts of Russia. We were looking for those who have a truly unique gift.
I am an exceptionally skilled psychic predictor.
I possess intricate vision.
Magicians and sorcerers, each of them participated in our selection tests.
This lady is a girl, in my opinion.
Hello. In the end, we chose
9 people.
who will compete for the title of Best Psychic. Each week, one of them will leave our project. New challenges arise. Psychics analyze individuals. Of them survived clinical death.
There is definitely no...
The clairvoyant alone with a mysterious voice. Is it possible only with psychic abilities to see who it belongs to?
Around 30 years old, having had his appendix removed.
This terrible event shocked all of Russia.
The steps were truly on fire.
What caused the death of the nationally renowned actress?
She says there was jealousy and it was as if she was going to leave him, but he couldn't. Likewise.
Many psychics admit that they discover superpowers after some very strong shock in life. Most often, after clinical death in our first test, psychics will meet a person who also once visited between life and death. He did not become a psychic, but willingly agreed to take part in ours.
Clinical death, only 5 minutes. In this condition, a person can die. There is a 1 in 20 chance of surviving clinical death and only a 1 in 100 chance that he will remain healthy when he returns to life. We invited 6 people to our makeshift operating room, 5 of them completely ordinary people, but one once returned from the other world. Which of these people has traveled between 2 worlds? Test your 6 senses and you can determine which of these 6 have been between life and death. How developed is your intuition? You'll find out in a few minutes. Before the psychics begin this test, we decided to test the purity of our experiment on a test group. They don't have psychic abilities. Will they be able to determine just by eye which of these people suffered clinical death?
It's hard to say anything.
Maybe a person who has been to the other world gives a look.
Absent look.
Maybe posture corresponding or experience reflected in the complexion.
A bit.
Pale, in the end, no one from the test group could cope with this task. An independent journalist is observing our experiment. Masha herself decided to pass the test, which at first seemed to her not at all difficult. But even an experienced journalist could not identify a person who was between life and death. And will our clairvoyants be able to feel the breath of death so that psychics do not cheat on the move? The test will be monitored by our permanent skeptic magician, Sergei Safronov. He himself can deceive anyone and will not allow clairvoyants to deceive you. The psychic begins the test. Kidirian.
A person, only one of these people survived a clinical.
Yes.
Your job is to discern who this person exactly is. I have a personal...
Yeah.
Needed.
Needed. Razin Shamarik as Yelena.
I'll think about it.
Woman. This young girl seems to be having an argument with a young man. This man had a woman in his life. This young man brings up some doubts in me, something reminiscent of Dima Bilan. I believe I'm ready to make my choice. This ring is his. It's here, right here. I think this is the right woman. Please accept it.
All right, let me consult the person who owns this item and has undergone a clinical
Death. This young man's name is Andrew. Just 6 months ago, he was vacationing with friends in Crimea and did not even suspect how this vacation would end for him.
My friends and I woke up in the morning and went swimming.
Andre was swimming close to the shore when suddenly a jet ski collided with him, hitting his head. The heavy machine fractured Andre's skull. When doctors arrived on the scene, they diagnosed Andre with clinical death as his heart had not been beating for nearly an hour until suddenly settled.
This provided me an opportunity to live even longer, which I must utilize.
Psychic Nona Kidirian did not see which of these people experienced clinical death, but after learning that this person, Andre, was very upset.
Well, you shook your head. I knew it through his eyes. He heard my call, but he said, no, it's not me.
I just enjoy looking at you.
Next, Psychic Alexander Agapit will attempt to determine which of these individuals survived clinical death.
Kindly refrain from...
Alexander, what is this in your hands? What were you doing now?
Burgundy purifies energy, now by the grace of God.
Oh.
I have no doubt that this guy here in brown. Now a second.
God's man.
I think that's right. I read some profound prayers that sent me into a trance, and I saw this man just as I was out of it.
Cool.
In this costume, looks like Valery Leontiev with flowers. He made such a pleasant impression.
It took Roman for less than a minute, a hereditary sorcerer, to identify a person on the verge of life and death. The aura of man spoke of clinical death. Man, which is a visiting parallel world, glows with a strikingly predominant flower. This is evident from his data. 2 out of 3 psychics successfully determined that Andre was on the verge of life and death.
I am increasingly convinced that there are individuals with such perceptive abilities.
The frequent successes of clairvoyance raised some skepticism among the heroes of our experiment.
Recently, they very often started out, I would say.
However, the suspicions of the participants in the experiment were groundless. The following psychics, one after another, failed clairvoyance, tried to diagnose our heroes.
Are you having problems with the up?
However, they failed to identify an individual who survived a horrific disaster. Certain psychics, upon being informed of their error, persisted in upholding their claims.
You, in lifetime, faced numerous difficulties with vessels.
It's not clinical
death, but the shaman Tursun Zakirov did not try to diagnose the participants. She simply scanned those present with her ritual knife.
Clean like this.
Congratulations.
Thank you, big one. You have successfully passed our test. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I think all of ours were very impressed.
The Lord is stronger than all, and I am nothing compared to God. I take on disease.
Tursunoi Zakirova personally endured clinical death 3 times, and the shaman believes she acquired her extraordinary abilities solely due to these harrowing trials. Interestingly, there were no long dark tunnels or mysterious lights in her experience. The hero of our experiment, Andrei, also talks about completely different feelings.
I felt myself evolving in its base, which grew faster and faster, reaching a peak state as if spreading into tiny fragments. Slowly descended to the ground.
Another one of our psychics, Anna Belaya, also experienced clinical death. Can she detect if one of these 6 individuals had a similar experience as she did?
Let's say I don't see anything tragic about women, I'll give it to you.
Why did we make this choice?
We have such a strange feeling that behind this young man stands the Archangel Gabriel. It usually accompanies this who has experienced clinical
death. Can you tell me what happened?
I'm in touch with the Archangel right now, but he's kind of like, he's not really going to explain anything to me.
Spontaneous as it happened?
He didn't seem to answer all the other questions.
That is the story with the Archangel Gabriel.
That's cool. Of course.
Hereditary witch Evgeny Abramovsky reached out for assistance from mysterious otherworldly forces. He possesses clairvoyance, asserting that he communicates with the spirits of the deceased, who reveal to him the destinies of living individuals.
I made my choice.
Why?
The Spirit said so.
1313, the Archangel spoke and arrived, and thus I believe that the Spirit is also associated with 13.
You know it's not funny.
I agree. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Maybe you can try something else to surprise me?
Not a clown, no surprise here.
Oh.
I have an accident, apparently at sea related to cars. There is movement, and there is a stop of breathing, lungs and heart, maybe even to the brain.
Really, the brain?
I'm shocked.
You are guarded by an angel. You were born in a shirt.
Initially, he looked at me intently, and I immediately realized that she would choose me. She would not make a mistake.
Zhenya basically chose the path to intimidate me behind dark forces. I have 13 spirits. Here results. Naturally, we believe, and it pains us somewhat. Indeed, chills run down my spine. Do you think, wow? Is this all true? Does this really exist?
The initial test concluded with psychics claiming victory, delivering astonishing results. Amazingly, 5 out of 9 clairvoyants correctly identified individuals who had crossed into the afterlife. This was in stark contrast to the control group, who utterly failed the task. Let's wait to see if each psychics can astonish us further as the battle rages on.
A mysterious voice emerging from the speaker who owns it.
In my opinion, it is.
A woman.
The tragic death of the famous actress still remains a mystery for the whole country. Material melted. These persisted for numerous years. What can clairvoyants divulge about the final moments of Elena Mayarova's existence?
Recently, something has placed her in an incredibly distressing state as if she weren't.
Wanted to live.
The subscriber is temporarily unavailable. Call back.
Quite frequently, you overhear the voice of an unknown individual and can merely speculate about their appearance. Have you ever pondered?
What is the appearance of the girl who informs that the subscriber is momentarily unavailable? How tall is your cherished radio presenter?
Are you sure you are not deceived by a stranger who describes his appearance?
In a telephone conversation, psychics claim that they only need to hear a person's to tell.
Literally about him? That's what we'll try.
To be checking our subsequent test? Millions of people hear this distinctive voice every single day. Tune in at 10 p.m. on TNT. You might find yourself recognizing these intonations. However, contemplate whether it is possible to describe a person solely by listening to his voice. You can unveil the character of a stranger, discern his past, and foresee his future. Pay close attention to that voice once again. The latest season of the Psychic Battle commences tomorrow at 8 p.m.
We have challenged the psychics with the exceptionally demanding task of providing information about this individual, using only their auditory skills and their sixth sense, with a few phrases that will emanate from the speaker.
One hereditary witch, Evgenia Abramovsky, begins the test. Examine the different side of reality. The experiment continues.
I talk to the spirits speak.
This will not be shown anywhere else.
He is about 30 years old, wears either jeans or trousers, broad shoulders, not thin. He has appendicitis cut out. He was a very sick child, a family of one child. I see a daughter. I think she is 5 years old. He should have another child. A son appears. He definitely have a son. Hello.
Hello. The image is very consistent, for example, with my ideas about what psychic magicians are like. That is, it is a memorable image.
Hey.
What would do if there was no voice?
I'm interested in journalism.
Journalism? Yes, probably the desire was right about children. That is, the girls are just under 5 years old? Yes, boy, he already is, yes.
Our protagonist, Vsevolod Kuznetsov, is 37 years old. He is an actor, director, and translator known for voicing Western films. Vsevolod has coached many Hollywood stars to speak Russian, and his voice frequently appears on TV. Voice of the TNT channel. Just hour ago, he recorded several phrases that we will let our psychics listen to. What clairvoyance will be able to tell about him? It is interesting to Vsevolod himself that he will watch the progress of the test through a monitor from the next room.
I am faced with the contrary.
Not how they imagined it.
And so with the voice of a stranger, the psychic is left alone. He only has the sound that comes from the speaker, a look at the other side of reality. The experiment continues.
Previously, there was an injury at the cervical beginning of the thoracic spine, enlarged liver. I see in the past a person was fond of sports, not fond of it, but as if he was seriously involved in sports. Or lifting weights or a barbell?
No, not weightlifting.
Psychic Gulnara Bragin was unable to surprise our guest. The voice of the TNT channel showed with all its appearance that you cannot take it with your bare hands. However, the shaman Tursuna Zakirova's magical tool made Vsevolod wary.
Knife, the cleaver, there's such thing. You can manage anything.
I see the tragedy.
Take a closer look at the other side of reality.
His life has such an impactful effect. He experienced a significant setback.
I don't know, these words can tie everything to my life, too.
In the stream of consciousness visited by the clairvoyant Nonna Kidirian. On the contrary, there were too many specific details.
Well, when I first started listening to his voice, I received information about an injury to one leg, and here on the left side.
Combine harvester moved over.
Left
leg. I think he smokes and he quit many times.
I don't smoke at all.
He believes in a singular pure love, although he has been involved with several women.
Where is he taking it? Say you had 4 sectors open. Let's say one of them is mine and 3 other people's. So you grabbed with your hand, as if from 3 neighboring ones, and something from mine in that huge amount of information.
That thing matched perfectly.
If previous psychics caused distrust in Vsevolod, then Anna Belaya overthrew the TNT announcer.
Shock. This will not be shown anywhere else.
It might seem amusing at this moment, but I'm convinced it's a woman. Moreover, a woman with a man's haircut, but black hair, I see painted eyes and I see rings. In principle, it can be a man, but with female hormones secreted. Age 35, 40. At the moment, I don't see my husband as such, but can still listen to his voice.
What is hypnosis?
Does with people.
The voice is clearly male, but this is a woman. There may be really a lot of female hormones, but here clearly a woman. The voice sounds strange. It turns out to be very kind and very serious. Not threatening, but it is seriousness with kindness, something together.
Excuse me, here I am.
A 40-year-old, abandoned, lonely, and without children. What would you advise me to change this somehow? What do you think I should do?
Of course, the difficult question is what exactly should you do?
So is it men or women?
From the voice there, you can say anything, but I catch the energy. Apparently there was a time.
No, would I say that I messed up?
Well, that was how I perceived it.
My hormones are absolutely fine as far as I know. Generally, it doesn't draw me to men. I love women. I identify as a lesbian.
But the next psychic managed to get closer to the truth. Someone close to came.
Life?
About 2 years ago. Maybe it could be uncle, but I have my doubts. They immersed themselves in Vsevolod's past and even talked about the losses he had experienced.
I feel like there was significant loss of loved ones. But this is a relative. Of course, a direct relative can be the father.
That in itself is not a murder or suicide, precisely 2007.
But Vsevolod turned out to be an incorrigible skeptic and continued to find fault with even the most insignificant details.
But she's wrong.
When Alexander Agapit was on the set, the voice of the TNT channel could not resist commenting he is similar.
Salon simultaneously at Leontiev, Kirov's and Joe's Indians, performed by Solgot Nigmatulio. Now he breathes something and gets himself into a state. Breathing or whispering something there.
Well, first of all, for some reason I have the letters. But first of all, it can be a first or last name, one letter of a first or last name.
Of Vsevolod.
Approximately 40 years old. I believe the average build could be up to 180 with a small belly protruding.
Belly, yes.
The hair is dark, I can see it. He wears glasses.
One mentioned,
He is short-sighted? Not farsightedness, but myopia.
As long as everything is correct.
He sports a mustache, and it seems to me that he's here in the studio. In fact, I can even tell you exactly which side he's on right now. You know, I even believe he's here and somewhere around this area. Good afternoon, good.
Mustache and beard a few days ago.
Is the letter connected?
For the letters, my name is Vsevolod. Well, at the moment when Alexander began his research, he suddenly began to speak so accurately and concisely, not that the tentacles extended to stomach, but this is a premonition that a person seems to be selecting you. The number of accurate answers is much higher than the rest.
9 psychics who agreed to participate in our project. Their first trials, they believe in their strength and rejoice in each of their victories. But to sum up, it's still very early. A real battle baptism awaits them. This represents the most challenging test. They will face it here, within the entrance of an ordinary 8-story building.
At home in the center of Moscow.
It was within this very entrance nearly a decade ago that the star of Soviet cinema, Elena Mayorova, tragically passed away. The death of this remarkable actress continues to be an unsolved enigma. Elena's demise was by literal immolation.
Well, Sonia was black and she had a parting of hair behind her. There was blood.
What was that? Were they accidents or suicides? Our psychics will strive to answer this and many other pressing questions.
The man clung desperately like this.
Such as?
Rolling, that's it, finished.
Who is to blame for the actress's death?
A lot of jealousy.
How melted.
You are watching a new battle of psychics, and with you, I am Mikhail Porochenkov. Now 9 people with paranormal abilities are coming here to this quiet courtyard in the center of Moscow. Here they are waiting for the last and most difficult test of the day.
On
On August 24th, 1997, news spread throughout Russia about the tragic death of the nation's favorite actress, the star of Soviet cinema, Elena Mayarova.
Why did you give it all?
Lena, it was always true that what she did was so extravagant, almost on the verge of some kind of clowning. She was absolutely an artist.
Or maybe it was chopped in the most interesting place.
The terrible death of Majarova became a mystical justification of her name, because in translation from Greek, Helena means burning torch. The tragedy happened in broad daylight in the heart of Moscow.
A woman exited an elite house on Tverskaya. Seeing her, random witnesses thought a horror movie was being filmed due to how terrifying it looked.
She ran, you can say, ran in steps, completely naked, and her skin and hair were really on fire. Her face was black, and from behind she had a clump of hair. There was blood from the woman who worked there. When she saw them and began to scream, "Girl, girl, come to us. We are now with water. We will now help you. We will help you." And that's it.
Burning like a torch, a woman walked at a steady pace. She climbed the steps of the Mossovet Theater, passed by the watchmen, and fell. They could not immediately recognize the actress because her body turned into one large bloody wound.
They took out a stretcher and lay down. Was covered and hands up above. This is what I saw clearly, and the fact that the skin on her hands was just hanging like a rag.
Several hours at the Sklifosovsky Institute fought for the life of the actress, but to save Elena Major failed.
Deep burns affected more than 85% of the body surface.
The death of actress Mayarova is still shrouded in mystery. That it was suicide or an accident, no one knows. All we know is that everything happened in the entrance of the house where she lived on the site between the 5th and 6th floors. No one can understand how the burning woman had enough strength to descend from the 5th floor and walk through the entire courtyard.
We had a pile under our door. And a piece of fabric. These are the tracks left. This is a burnt dress, and as far as I remember, it seemed to be made of some kind of synthetic material. It fell and melted, and these traces in general remained for many years, right under our door.
Our psychics will have to say what really happened to Elena Mayarova today, right at the entrance to the very place where Elena caught fire. Following the course of the test will be a person who knew the actress intimately. This is her former neighbor, Vasily Nikolaevich. The expert present will be Professor of Criminology, Mikhail Vinogradov.
Good evening in this place. There was a significant tragedy, an envelope with a photograph of a person associated with this tragic event. Please try to articulate what happened here, with whom, and when.
It is hardly possible to feel anything, but although if each card has something...
That suggests a possibility.
There's a woman here. A picture of a woman in an envelope. A female individual aged over 35. Blonde hair that might be dyed. This woman, who was married and inherently very strong, was also a workaholic and frequently traveled to distant cities on business trips. Despite her success, life was challenging for her, and she had many envious people around her. Glory no one forgets.
Well, everything's spoken right.
Now I doubted a little. Here it is connected with two rings. This is another kind of relationship or family, although not very close. The screams are very loud. There are a lot of screams here.
The man who was scared could.
Running up the stairs and running women.
Gypsy Aza had an accurate intuition that the envelope contained a photo of the woman who was currently
not alive.
Documented her appearance and character, but what specifically transpired in this entrance remains a mystery the clairvoyant couldn't unravel.
When the subsequent psychic, Alexander Agapit, appeared for this test, he oddly brought flowers.
Understood everything.
I find it why she aggravated me with in the morning. Everything is understood. The reason for giving flowers to my parents.
Here he came with roses. And I wanted to say that my last memory, I'm going down in the elevator. And she's standing with a huge bouquet of red roses.
I'm lying red blood. Boy there, a boy most likely. For some reason, the letter still remains a... Well, Vladimir, I believe there might be some clandestine activities happening. I have a feeling something significant is present here. Inappropriate conduct involving...
Nothing ever resembled what Alexander Agapit witnessed in this entry. However, whether it is merely a coincidence remains uncertain.
But the letters and numbers that the psychic called can easily be associated with Elena Mayorova.
She's a famous actress. Elena Mayorova, 10 years ago, she ended with you in this place. Vladimirovna? She is Mayorova.
Everything.
That's it. Well,
certain things may be appropriate, but regrettably not all.
I left the flowers here for her. And Glory actress, she was great. Am I shameful? Of course I'm a disgrace.
A clairvoyant who had learned the task immediately proceeded to Vasily Nikolaivich's apartment, the very site where the traces of the horrifying tragedy from 10 years ago still linger.
Crossing Urka, crossing. Blood. A man in uniform. I see a man in uniform.
For an extensive span of nearly 20 minutes, she descended into a profound trance, yet she remained incapable of witnessing the tragedy that befell Elena Mayorova.
Do this then.
The subsequent psychic, neither by the photo within the envelope nor the memory of the location, could connect with what truly transpired here. What indeed occurred on this site.
The guy is young.
Here. Below. A group of boys, a group of young people.
And 3 shots were fired, but the psychic not only felt that there was a photograph of a woman in the envelope, she began to describe it very accurately, feeling may not that this person full height, a person, as it were, in a close-up. Still like this, it's like looking sideways. She smiles, and in the photo she is captured, this is either a birthday or some holiday that had some meaning for her. Measure probably 10 years. It's not winter, it's not even spring. It seems to me that late summer or autumn. She says that she couldn't leave the land for a long time, and she speaks as if she was giving some signs, trying to explain, tell more. She says like, Mom, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you.
But she's quick and emotional, and without rolling her eyes, she feels something.
Tragedy talks about this story here as if like a legend. She suffered a lot, and during her life, you know, in my opinion, I have an unsuccessful marriage. She says he beat her, he drank, and he crippled her. Jealousy, as if he knew, as if she was going to leave him, and he couldn't allow it to happen to Elena Mayorova. There were 2 marriages. With her second husband, the artist Sergei Sherstyuk, she lived until her death for more than 12 years. But it is known that in the last year of her life, Elena began a stormy affair with a young actor, Oleg Vasilkov. Oleg was Elena's partner in the film Strange Time. As neighbors say, the lovers did not hide their relationship, walked holding hands. Elena's husband, Sergei, was very worried, but tried in every possible way to save the marriage.
She came with her husband to the bakery, bathed gingerbread constantly there lately. In a week, she came very sad. She was also very strange, speaking with glasses. She had under her eye. Something happened. She was very, very sad.
On that terrible day, August 23rd, Elena constantly sent messages on the pager to her lover Oleg Vasilkov. Come, I'm dying, but Oleg wasn't in Moscow, and the message simply didn't reach him. A few hours later, he learned of the death of his beloved woman on television. The seer Gulnara Bragina directly stated that the main cause of the death of this woman was a love affair. Gulnara unmistakably named even the names of the lovers.
It is Lena Oleg in her zodiac signs. They have a very strong air element. Because in their relationship, emotions constantly had such a firework display. A normal conversation never turned out. The young man had a very strong emotional limit. That is, he seemed to perceive everything deeply within himself. He was a little lower, as if in status. The word love stands separately. That is, their relationships united them. Faith is very big, which attracts a lot of... There is such a fanatical state there.
Clairvoyant Gulnara saw intimate details of the last days of Elena Mayarova's life. But is the real cause of the death of the famous actress her personal relationship?
I see them all together, but one after the other.
What will the clairvoyant say?
Lately, something has very laid down such a state, as if it did not want to live.
Will psychics solve the mystery of the death of the Soviet star?
She rushed. She didn't even realize everything anymore. Well, what's happening, that is, the person doesn't want anymore.
The center of Moscow, entrance to an elite 8-story building. A terrible tragedy happened here 10 years ago. Soviet movie star Elena Mayarova died. The death of the actress is still shrouded in mystery. That it was an accident or self-immolation unknown to see. The details and causes of this terrible death are trying our psychics.
They very accurately described the appearance of the actress. Her character, interests, and hobbies saw piquant details of her personal life, telling about the latest novel, Elena Mayarova. Clairvoyant Gulnara Bragina decided to dwell on her husband.
This man is such by character that he had ideas in his life, but he rarely carried them to the end. And they also seem to have stubbornness associated with conflict. For some reason, I see death not together, but as it were one after the other, and for some reason one girl. He also has a cliff. I can't understand, but there's something heavy there. But it seems to me that their family has a predisposition to cancer.
Clairvoyant Gulnara told many amazing details of Elena Mayarova's personal life, but to see how this actress died, she couldn't find the last psychic who hadn't passed this test, Tatiana Podlubnaya, taking in her hands an envelope with a photograph of Elena, a clairvoyant, thought for a minute and began her story.
This person is not alive. This woman is quite well known for her individuality. Many didn't love her, so few people could find a common language with her. She was quite impulsive, energetic. The character archetype is tenacious. But at the same time, it changed the mood. Sometimes there were mood swings from depression, a sharp feeling of joy.
Indeed, I'm astonished by how accurately she speaks overall, right from the beginning, without a single empty phrase.
Lately, I've done something very hard. Here's the condition, as if she didn't want to live. She decided on her own life. Let's say it was suicide, to be honest.
Honestly, I anticipated no, this result might be expected. Well, because whatever she says now, it's already here.
It's not. She wasn't let herself hang. Something vivid. I honestly don't know. It was very vivid. Perhaps even the burning itself.
After Elena Mayarova's death, a kerosene lamp was discovered on this staircase, which she had once procured from Sicily. Aviation kerosene, usually her preference.
Lubricated.
Throat during sore throats and burnt matches.
And so she rushed, hardly comprehending it all anymore. Well, perhaps she even fell, meaning the person was already completely in a sense. In this particular condition role, it even adhered like a somersault. Here, some things are felt, but remain unclear.
But it's phenomenal. Frankly speaking, phenomenal.
Familiar?
Yes, of course.
What's that?
An actress.
This is Elena Majorov, a prominent figure.
That pride was so strong. This is the pride of a person. Here it is, in principle. It seems to me that played a very big role. It was just trampled on. This is it.
And that was the underlying reason?
The major influence in the individual. Perhaps that led to his actions.
She spoke of the state of the soul, insisting everything was about the soul. She understood the soul from the beginning and communicated it perfectly. Naturally, there can be nuances unknown to us and to anyone else. Except for her and Mayorov, no one will ever know. But the essence remains absolutely correct.
The new battle.
They passed their first tests.
I want to tell you that during filming, some of our participants admitted that these tasks are very difficult for them. In reality, everything turned out to be much more serious than they expected very soon. All 9 psychics will gather at the designated place. They will have only a few minutes to make the ultimate decision on whether any among them will refuse to engage in battle and accept defeat voluntarily.
I am delighted to welcome you here, in this room by the rules for each of our battles. This building now determines your fate, and you 9 have passed your first challenge. I know these trials have been difficult, they have not been easy for you, but I remind you, this is just the beginning now. I want to ask you the questions. Ready for new challenges?
Yes, indeed.
Maybe someone from those present, psychics passing ours. First test, voluntarily leave our battle. I traveled all the way from Europe to compete in the Battle of Psychics, and I envision myself making it to the final 3 competitors.
I intend to get to the end and will do everything possible and impossible to do so.
I have been treating people for 15 years. I am completely confident in myself. Allah will help me.
The Most Holy Mother of God guided me here, and with her unparalleled strength, I am confident that I will emerge victorious among the contestants.
I see. Everyone is fighting with great determination and seriousness. Then I'll announce it. This is our resolve. Based on the results of the 3. First test, you managed to show your abilities where you totally surprised our skeptics and entire crew, including myself. And we count. What this week seems to be fair enough. The project will remain. We give you one more chance. It's going to be another challenging week. But in 7 days, I will have to make an announcement to the psychic. Which battle will be over. Be sure to tune in exactly 1 week at 8 p.m. TNT channel.